Yo, guys, had to change to a Warner Brothers related beanie because I was just on SCN Live for Schmoda Entertainment Network. While we were there, this news broke in the middle of the stream, and then we spent like 35 minutes chit-chatting about it. It's a really fun stream, by the way. You guys should go over there, watch that video. I'm telling you, it's a really fun time. All right. You get like my reaction to the news right there. And then there's some great opinions going back and forth about this. But if you guys haven't heard yet and haven't had a chance to talk with John about it, Warner Brothers, in regards to HBO Max, they're going to be releasing a crap ton of movies, a whole bunch of movies this coming year. Of course, we know about Wonder Woman 84. Of course, we know about the Snyder Cut. But John, why don't you read aloud the movies they have said? And I actually didn't believe this at first. If you go over to that stream, I was like, no, this can't be real. Yeah. But then Warner Brothers put out a trailer showing, no, they're doing this for real. This is really happening. Read it away.
All right, this list is circulated to multiple places, so I'm confident in it. The Little Things, which is Denzel Washington's new movie, Judas and the Black Messiah, Tom and Jerry, Godzilla vs. King Kong, Mortal Kombat, Those Who Wish Me Dead, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, In the Heights, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Reminiscence, The Suicide Squad, Malignant, Dune, The Many Saints of Newark, King Richard, Cry Macho, and The Matrix 4.
All
of this
crazy.
This will all come out on HBO and in any theaters that exist at the time.
Yeah. I don't want to, even though I was joking about, like, when I was on the stream about just taking everyone's opinions that they're over there, I do encourage you guys to go check it out. I'm still so confused on exactly how the business model works. This shift makes sense to me. Of course, I want to see more than 50% of these movies in the theaters where we live. There's no theaters open within 60 miles.
You don't want to watch The Matrix 4 on your telephone or your home TV?
Like, this shift makes sense. It's a great way to compete in the streaming wars. Undoubtedly, it's going to go. I don't even think HBO Max is completely worldwide yet. So by the time they are worldwide, this is going to change the game entirely. I could just imagine how many more theaters are going to be going out of business over the next year, especially because these are some huge juggernaut films. I mean, Matrix 4, The Suicide Squad. What I noticed is the Batman isn't on there. So maybe there's a chance.
That's one I bet they're holding on to. Like, we're going to play this one so by ear.
Yeah. This is supposed to be just for 2021, though.
Yeah, they said this is a one-year plan as of now, just because they assume that, theaters will be operating, if at all, in low capacities, and so they're going to test this out.
See, that's where I was kind of going back and forth with some people on the stream of my argument against, like, I don't quite get how the profit margin really works for HBO Max. They've apparently gotten rid of their free trial. You sign up $15 a month, you get more people that pay $15 a month. Does the profit of how many they're expecting to get monthly for all these movie announcements, will that equate to how much they were expecting to make off of these movies being released in the theaters? That's where some of my confusion comes in, because they're like, well, they're playing the long-term game, but in the long-term game, this is only going to be for 1 year. So what if people decide to unsubscribe after they're done with the movies, you know? I don't know if that'll be the case or not. If, like, The Suicide Squad, the only place you could watch it is on HBO Max. In my opinion, though, I mean, like, I'm excited for it because it gives me access to all the movies. I have HBO Max. And so in terms of like an audience standpoint, I'm definitely excited about it. I guess like the model of streaming just confuses me, because I've been hearing like Netflix is like completely bankrupt for the longest time. Or, you know, or not bankrupt, but in major debt, and they still keep releasing new content. So I'm like, is this going to put them in financial debt? I mean, we win, but do they win? Like, that's where I'm kind of confused on some of this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard that about Netflix for a long time, and part of that I've heard is because they spend so much producing like everything. They just green light tons of stuff, and they have a pretty good rep for not meddling too hard with people's creativity, which is a double-edged sword. So I've always been curious about how they thrive, and I feel like right now they're doing fine because, you know, theaters for them are like the afterthought that they had to fight to get to for extra legitimacy. But yeah, with HBO Max, I would be curious because now, I mean, you know, you got more people at home. I wonder how how all these apps are faring against cable, because, you know, for certain people you just get HBO Max through your cable subscription, and so like that's not gonna generate more profit off these movies, I wouldn't imagine, unless they create an extra paywall, which doesn't seem like it went too well when Disney tried it. I can imagine that this would entice a lot of people, and this does seem like the edge a lot of regular folks might need to be like, oh dang, that's something special about HBO's streaming service, which I thought was already a thing from HBO Go and HBO Now. You know, so this does seem like a good plan to at least keep people around for that year. I don't know after that. I mean, it seems like a smart move to at least embrace the circumstances of right now and see how this goes. Because the thing is, too, if they get, you know, into March, April, May, and they're like, oh man, this is not going well, they can totally change the plan. But right now, I think, you know, even just having this big slate announced is enough to get people mumbling, because you have so many different opportunities in this list to play to different audiences. You know?
But what Christian was telling me on the stream is that the stocks went up once this announcement happened. So this would actually be bad publicity if they decided to move against this.
Yeah, I can see that, especially if the stocks.
I mean, and what's also fascinating to me is how they're going to make a lot of money on HBO Max moving forward.
Oh yeah.
But they're going to be releasing these movies in select theaters. How Netflix will sometimes do limited release, but they do it like very limited. When Netflix would do that, when theaters were a normal piece of the business, right? Is there even a point to them putting it in theaters now? If they're going to put it in certain select theaters, like how many people are really going to be like, unless you're just a hardcore movie buff,
yeah,
you know, if we had access to that, we would absolutely go.
Yeah.
But I feel like the average moviegoer is just going to be like, no, just watch it on HBO Max. Why do I have to go to the theater to watch? Unless it's something that really calls for it. But even then, I feel like the average moviegoer worldwide, people who are not movie buffs, they're not really going to give two shits about whether or not they have to go to the theater. So I'm like, well, actually, where they stand to lose money is in those select theaters they're releasing any of these movies, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess part of me wonders if that's them just trying to keep that spark alive. I know in the statement, the HBO rep said, like, we want theater experience as much as anybody. Like, that's what we want. And I wonder, too, if they probably are able to triangulate where these profits are coming from, so maybe they'll run them in places more prone to, like, cinephiles who want to go out. Like, maybe they can look at how Tenet did and go, okay, these territories were okay with the turnout, at least for what the capacities would allow, so we'll at least release them there.
I mean, that's exactly what I brought up, though, was about Christopher Nolan. Like, how is Christopher Nolan feeling to this news? He's done all his movies with Warner, at least like most of his movies he's done with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I imagine that the concerns and the fact that he's kind of spoken about some of his frustrations with how Warner Brothers was reviewing the success or the numbers generated from Tenet, it seemed like he had some criticisms towards the way Warner Brothers was reflecting on the results and on the information. So I can imagine a scenario where Nolan ultimately decides to leave Warner Brothers because I don't know. It's like, is it part of the Tenet's like lack of success? Because that's the way it was at least circulating in the news. You know, they weren't. I kind of agree with Nolan in the sense of they didn't look at how, with what the world that we're living in now, how well Tenet actually did considering all that.
Yeah.
They didn't look at it that way.
They just wanted to bring things back to normal.
but my point is because of the way Tenet was perceived as not a success at the box office, is this the reason why all this is happening now? Because that's a giant freaking... Before it was just
part of it,
Wonder Woman, Snyder Cut. There you go. Now it's all the movies except for Batman.
But the thing, to me at least, is I feel like Wonder Woman was the big... Because Snyder Cut is like, okay, this is a fan-generated thing. Sure. We're going back. We're tweaking something that pre-existed. Whereas Wonder Woman is like a gigantic... It's a holiday season draw. So that to me was, the dam that hailed this. Like, I was almost more surprised about that than I am about this now. Because, you know, with the way things are looking, it's kind of the only option they have unless they just want to pile up movies for years on end.
I just didn't think it would be this many movies. It's
I didn't think they would go
so many movies.
I didn't think they would go the full year. I thought they would maybe go a quarter or something and be like, we're gonna start out with this trial run of these 4 or 5 highly anticipated tentpoles that we have ready to go.
Especially, it's like, I get that you want to like put some big ones on there in order to attract people, but I'm like, god damn, some of these are major movie, like, could have been juggernauts if they waited. You know, Godzilla vs. Kong, Suicide Squad, Space Jam.
People are going to show up for Space.
Yeah, that's the only one people are like, we're boycotting HBO Max.
Watch that one will
don't
probably do like record streams out of all these though. Like just watch.
And Netflix just raised their price. I was annoyed yesterday because they weren't taking my card information so we could review Hunter x Hunter. But now, like, Netflix raised their price. HBO Max is only, I think, $1 more for what I pay for HBO Max. I mean, I think Netflix is only $1 less than what I currently pay for HBO Max. But right now, HBO Max seems like they're offering a little bit more movies that I'm a lot more interested in than what Netflix has to offer. Now they just gotta get their TV show game up and then we're good to go. All right, guys, are you excited about this news? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit the like button. Please do leave your thoughts. And also check out my appearance on SCN Live. I'm telling you, like, it turns from a really fun discussion, and then once this news breaks, it becomes a very fascinating discussion. See you guys.